welcome to Series 1, Episode 1 of The Remote Life. It's my take on documenting what life is like as a remote worker as I'm travelling around the world. I want to document what life is like, the cultures, the food, what it's like to live and work remotely in the places that I visit. And I'm really excited about bringing this to you over the next weeks and months ahead. At the moment, I am in Tokyo in Japan, and I wanted to start off today talking about this apartment and how much it costs to stay here in Tokyo. Normally I would use Airbnb for my accommodation, but this time around trying to find accommodation in Tokyo for a month hasn't been easy. And that is due to a change in the law by the Japanese government, which means that if anybody is renting out a property to tourists for a short period of time, they have to register, and they also have to go through a review process. Now this takes quite a bit of time, and that has meant on sites like Airbnb the amount of properties on there is drastically reduced. Airbnb will no longer list those properties unless they have a registration number. So because there are less properties on Airbnb, the price has shot through the roof. It is ridiculously expensive how much it costs now to rent an apartment in Tokyo. It was expensive before, but it's got even worse. Before we get into that though, let me give you a tour around my apartment. It's not going to take long. So what you see here is my apartment, and yes, that is a single bed. It's been a while since I've stayed in an apartment with a single bed, but I have to say it is very comfortable. They take recycling very seriously here in Japan, and every day is a different day for collecting rubbish. Like today will be the burnable items, which you can see in the bin here. And at this side I've got a desk, which is really handy because obviously I'm working here. We've got a TV which is just full of Japanese channels, can't understand a word anybody's saying. I've got a little shelving system there where I've been keeping all of my camera gear and the bits that I use on a day-to-day basis. And as you can see there, you've got the entrance into the apartment. We've got some wardrobes to the right hand side and the toilet to the left hand side, which I shall show you in a minute. It's like a portaloo. And then we've got a microwave, a grill and a fridge freezer. As you can see, this is the kitchen and it's very tiny. I've got a little hob so I can do my scrambled egg and omelettes in the morning. So this is the shower and bathroom area. As you can see, it is very small, but I have to say the water's very warm and powerful, so that's good. So as you have seen, it's a very small space. It's a little bit grubby, but I have to say it is so quiet here. The Japanese people are very quiet people, and it's just made my stay here so much more enjoyable. When it comes to the night time, I put my lamp, I'm sat at my desk. It's really a relaxing environment, and that's what you need when you have to work 8 hours a day as a remote worker. So whilst it's not the nicest place that I've stayed in, you know, just for comfort and quietness, it's been perfect. And the location as well is pretty impressive. Let's go and explore. The location of my apartment is in an area called Nakano, which is about 10 minutes away from Shinjuku by train. There is a river running through the middle of my street. It's hard to believe that this park is literally minutes away from my apartment. The walk from my apartment takes about 10 minutes, and with the number of bicycles here you can just see how many people cycle around Tokyo. One thing that I love about Nakano are these little alleyways. And down here the smells are incredible. If you want to see my video of Nakano, I shall leave a link above. I hope you enjoyed that little explore around Nakano, the area where my apartment is based. So now let's talk about the price of renting an apartment like this. It's a studio apartment. You could even call it a bedsit if you lived in the UK. It's literally a bed in a room, but it's got everything that I need. Now on Airbnb, something very similar to this would cost me about £1,800, about 2,000 US dollars, which is ridiculously expensive. And me being a bit of a tight Yorkshireman with my money, I wasn't prepared to spend that amount of money, even to come to one of my favourite cities in Tokyo. This place has cost me £800, which is around 1,000 US dollars, and it's actually cheaper than the place that I stayed in the last time I came to Tokyo, but it's much smaller and it isn't as central as the other apartment I stayed in, which was much closer to Shinjuku. I'm only though 10 minutes by train, which is perfect. The location, as you've seen, is really amazing. I just love living in this part of Tokyo. As I said, I didn't use Airbnb, and I used a company called Sakura House. A few people recommended them to me, and I was really nervous about it because the process of booking and renting the accommodation is completely different than Airbnb. You obviously go onto their website, you find a property that you like, you drop them an email and find out if it's available. If it is, you pay a 20,000 yen deposit, and then when you arrive in Tokyo, you go to their offices in Shinjuku, and then you have to fill out an absolute ton of paperwork. But to be honest, for saving the amount of money that I've saved, I do not mind spending half an hour filling out paperwork at all. And to be honest, the people that worked there all spoke really good English, because that was one of the things that I worried about, the language barrier. I think most of the people that work there are expats or people learning Japanese and maybe teaching in Japan, so it was really easy to deal with the communication side, and yeah, it went really smoothly. I arrived here, got the key, they gave me a map and told me how to get here, and it was really smooth, to be honest, and I would definitely use them again in the future. That is it for this episode. In episode 2, I'm going to be talking about the first impressions of living in Tokyo as a remote worker. I'm going to be talking about the positives and the negatives, like the Wi-Fi. Let's not talk about the Wi-Fi. Oh dear. We're going to be talking about the positives and the negatives and give you a little tour around the city. We're going to be doing lots more exploring, so bear with me as we move through Tokyo over the next 2 weeks and then move on to Seoul in South Korea. So until next time, take care of yourselves and travel safe. Take care.